one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, finally, we are going to be taking a look at the new Transformers War for Cybertron Haslab UNICRON. Now, before we get into the review, I gotta send a huge shout out to all of my Optibotimus Plus channel members. Many who have said that, well, yeah, I'm probably one of the last reviewers to review this. A lot of them said that they did not watch any of those reviews, waiting to see this guy for the first time by way of me. So thank you guys so much for all of that support. And if you're not a channel member, but you do enjoy this review, you absolutely have them to thank for it. Now, for the packaging, this thing is massive. Honestly, I've seen the box, I saw all the official videos and stuff, and it looks huge. But nothing really prepares you for it until you get it in hand. For comparison, this is Trypticon. I mean, this gives you kind of an idea of just how big this guy is going to get. The box for this is absolutely massive. Gorgeous art on here. You can see Unicron, you got the Transformers logo with the Transformers text. Cool image of Unicron there, which does kind of carry over to the side here. You got the rings coming across, and then of course the rings coming down here. Again, you got that gorgeous Unicron logo coming around to the back. I absolutely love this. You got what kind of looks like Cybertron maybe. You got some random other bots floating around in space. You got the Quintesson vessel. And then Unicron's head. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. I love the way that that looks. Again, if they did art, I would absolutely buy it. Other side here has the Unicron logo with the Haslab thing right down here. Absolutely incredible in terms of the packaging on here. Very well protected as well. There is an amazing amount of foam on the inside of this. Well, stuff's gonna fall out. Foam, heavy duty cardboard. Just wonderful what they were able to do in terms of the packaging on this. And now I know a lot of people are probably going to keep this because it kind of goes along with the whole collectible nature of things. And again, I got to send a huge shout out to the folks at Big Bad Toy Store. This is where I got, in case you couldn't tell from that sticker, because much like all of their stuff, they double box things. I've talked about it in other videos, like with Hot Toy figures, they double box the shipping box so that when you get it, that box is perfect. This came in absolute pristine condition. There was a big giant dent in the outer box, but because of that, nothing affected this one. So again, collector friendly all the way around. But for the box on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado,
I have summoned you here for a purpose.
And here he is. And I am out of the frame right now because I want to just kind of let you take this in. It is absolutely amazing. Again, the sheer size of this just really does not hit you until you have it in front of you. And now I'm going to come in to the frame so that you can see just how big this guy is. I mean, I'm still blown away by this. I have had him now for a couple weeks, and I've been practicing the transformation so I can get it just as perfect as I can to show you guys on screen. Because while, yeah, over time it does get much easier to transform, I still got to show it to you guys. So I have to slow things down a little bit more to kind of show where everything is going. And that was a daunting task. So I did a lot of trial runs. Now, before we even get to this, you get several accessories. First off, you get all these little filler pieces. Now this is nice because there are some gaps in here. I didn't put any on here. I'll probably do it more than likely after this review. But there are gaps, like for example in his shoulder, and I'll show that up here in a bit. But these actually fill this in, and that's really very nice. I love the fact that they thought to do something like that. That's cool. You also do get this stand. You get a couple different attachments for it. It's just a clear stand, but you also get a little well, I would probably say Autobot ship that is small. You can kind of see it there. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but paint detail is nice. I mean, it's just molded in this yellowish orange plastic. You got some silver on there, but it's very small. And then you just take this and you can plug that right there. You can have that kind of flying around, because this stand actually works with a other piece with it, that is Unicron's head, which is inside here. You can transform Unicron with this head attached or detached. For the purposes of this review, I did leave his head attached just because I wanted to show you that it can be done. But if you wanted to take it off, you can actually plug it on here and have his head kind of floating around. Then you would have like the little ships going around. You also get a couple small little guys. Now these ones I did not take out because I knew if I did, Pepper would steal them, and there's already teeth marks on here. You can, I don't know if you can kind of see, there are little teeth marks that are in there because she just tried to get this. But you have little tiny figures in here. You have a purple Galvatron. Hopefully that doesn't overdo things. A purple Galvatron and a red Rodimus, or maybe even Hot Rod. Not entirely sure. But those little figures can also tab in to little slots on the side of this display stand, which is nice because it does seem like they're going to give us more. I know that we're getting a little Optimus we already got a little Optimus with that Centurion set, so these add to that. And then there's another one that's coming out. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's coming out with the Arc, the Titan class Arc, which that should be fun. So we're going to be getting a few of these, and you can kind of line them up here, which I think is nice. You also do get some alternate pieces for the head. So you get an alternate face, which, as you can see, is very battle damaged. I keep looking at my watch because that's how I see the camera. So you do get that, which looks really nice. You can see damaged eyes right there. And just, this is how he looked after the battle. And then you also do get an alternate chin piece, because in one scene, he had one full goatee. But in all the remaining scenes, he had two like spikes or spike goatee. So they give you that as well. It lets you kind of decide how you want your figure to look. I'm not all that particular about it. I know some people probably are, but it doesn't really matter too much to me which is on there. But I like the fact that they give you options. But here he is. And again, just kind of stepping back to take it all in. The guy is huge. I mean, really very impressive. I'm actually going to move these out of the way because I'm going to spin this around a whole bunch of different times. And I mean, one of the most impressive aspects of this is that they have it in a perfect planetoid sphere configuration. Now, we have gotten a Unicron before, and if you are an Optibotimus Plus channel member, you got to see my episode of the Optibotimus looks back at the Energon trilogy, Unicron trilogy, Unicron. That is a decent figure for what it is. But this, the fact that they got this all the way around looking the way that he should, and that's probably gonna, that's very sharp and pointy right there. This is just absolutely gorgeous. Great paint detail throughout the entire thing, great sculpt work throughout all of it. A lot of extra detail that they really didn't need to put in, but it's all there beautifully. Now, I'm just gonna bring up the elephant in the room right now. The mouth, or maw as it's referred to. Almost every single picture, and yeah, you can rotate that around, and it is very satisfying. I will say this is one of the most satisfying things about this, but you have an opening and closing mouth. Part of the problem, though, and this in my opinion is a very, I guess, objective complaint, because we never saw it with this blue in the mouth. It was all, well, I'll take that back. There were a couple pictures, but almost all the press releases and things like that showed this all being orange, and it's not. They molded it in this color. Why they couldn't paint it, and I did see an interview, and I think it was with the Unicron website people, where Hasbro said that they thought about painting it, but then the gimmick of this would have rubbed on that and it would have scraped the paint. I don't know necessarily if I agree with that, because I've seen some of the paint stuff that they have been doing, like with a lot of their Netflix Transformer figures, where it's like not necessarily painted, but like tampographed, I think it's called. I mean, you easily could have done that with this. So I feel like they're just coming up with excuses on that. This, though, is, in my opinion, something worth complaining about. It was not shown to us like that. All the promotional images, like I said, had that being orange. And if I'm being completely fair, that's something that people should have issue with. Now, another problem is all the leg kibble on it. We'll get to that here in a bit. But we knew that was going to be there. So that, to me, is not a valid complaint because we saw it. It's a complaint in not getting it. But if they gave it to us and we didn't know that was going to be there, then all of a sudden we saw all that giant kibble stuff, then we can complain about it. But we knew it was there. We still decided to spend our money. We spent our money thinking that this was going to be all matching that, which it obviously isn't. So that's definitely something that disappoints me. Color variation, though, looks really nice. You can see you have this orangish yellow in a lot of it, and then a lighter yellow color in some of the dots kind of surrounding it. Great detail with these. They can articulate in and out, which is really nice. You got all the spikes going all the way around. Again, wonderful detail. You got the different colors, like the different blues throughout there. The top section does have silver, although it's really hard to see. You can kind of see the silver there at the top. And this boy is massively heavy, so yeah, it's a bit of a workout. Spikes look great though. Even the ring looks really nice. And again, there's some liberties taken with that, with like these bits kind of hanging out. I mean, that's not too bad, a little bit taller spikes, but like these extra ones kind of hanging out there. There's some liberties in there. I mean, it's not a 100% G1 1986 cartoon movie representation because of things like that, but I think it works for the character. It looks pretty good. When you come around to both sides, you can see you got this large round painted section. So again, I mean, like they could have spray painted the mouth. I don't know. Come around to the back, the spikes go all the way around. One aspect that I absolutely love is that sometimes they take cues from the transformations that we saw in the cartoon. Now, one of the most iconic transformation elements, I think, for this was when we saw his arms come out. These are going to become his arms, and his hand comes out of his gauntlet section, and that works in this, and I think it's fantastic. I love it. Now, you do have some slight paint variation. You got a little bit more of that yellow color, and then a little bit more of the orange up here. Doesn't bother me really all that much. I would have liked it if it was a little bit more matched, but it's okay. It goes with it. In general, I'm just blown away by it. I love this. I think that is phenomenal, like I said, and it's so smooth of a gear mechanism. I absolutely love the way it is. Now, he does come with the display stand. You do have to kind of put this together. It's not bad. You can transform this guy without that stand on there, but it's very heavy and it's not really worth going through the hassle of trying to hold it and manipulate it to be able to transform it just because the stand's not there. But it is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, all that detail, like I was telling you before, all is wonderfully recreated on this guy. One aspect that I also do kind of like is what they did with the stand and having this piece right here, because it kind of hides it. I mean, the stand is obviously there, but it does kind of make it look like it's floating because it's kind of right in front of that giant piece. Now, this giant piece also can work as storage for those extra accessories, like the extra faceplate. It stores on the bottom, which is kind of stupid. I don't know. Yeah, I could probably pick it up and show you. It's gonna hit me in the face. Underneath here is where you put it. I kind of feel like that's a stupid place to put it. I don't understand why they did that, but they did. But the guy is just absolutely gorgeous. Because I have him here again is Trypticon with this guy. I mean, you could see in that one episode, you could see why he wanted Trypticon's, I think, eyes, because he's about the same size. He's pretty big, but it is still far more massive in just the overall presence of him. I really couldn't be any happier. Honestly, a lot of people will compare this to that third-party one that is out, which is much smaller, but has a lot more engineering involved in it. This is like $575, so it is expensive, but you were getting what you paid for. You were paying for the size of this, not necessarily the engineering. And this is a bit of a tangent, but people compare those two, and I don't think it's fair when that Studio Cell one, I want to say is like $375, is about the size of the Combiner Wars Devastator or so. And I mean, it's just, you're for $375, you're getting basically a Combiner Wars size figure. It's really impressive, don't get me wrong. And ultimately, I do think that one is probably the best looking between the two, but you were getting what you pay for, like I said. That one is $375 for an incredibly accurate, well-engineered figure. And that accuracy and engineering go together because they engineered all those panels to hide. And that's what works. Now, with this, like I said, the $575, you're paying for the size of it. And a Studio Cell figure with this size, I believe would be about $1,000 piece. So it is what it is. But and that's why I don't think it's a very fair comparison. Now, with Unicron here, as impressive as this all is, it's only one of his modes. And now we gotta transform him to his robot mode. What I do is remove the ring. So come down here to the bottom. You basically want to split it apart. It connects via some tabs right there, and then just kind of just shoves up underneath a hole right there. Do that up here as well, and then come around to the sides, and this whole section is going to detach and pull out just like that. Then this whole bit, this gets a little bit, I tend to forget how this goes. Kind of want to detach this from it. This is going to rotate around, straighten that out. Oh yeah, it goes like this. And you basically want to have it kind of like so. Let's see here. And I always forget exactly how this has to attach to him. Yeah, it's spinning around. That's the fun thing. And, well, hold on. So we're good. It's like that. Oh yeah, that bends. Okay. And then this comes up, and you have this little section right here that's going to post in right there. So this is basically his little wing thing. This just kind of hides here. Oh, put that up like that. And that's going to plug into a shoulder. So now that one is done. Let's do that on the other side as well. So again, this just kind of sits in there. It doesn't actually tab in. You just kind of plug it down there. And then remove this. Again, rotate all of this around. This is going to detach, rotate, extend down, point that. Then this comes up, bends that down, and then again, plug that in right there. That will lock in to his shoulder section. So now this one's done as well. So my record was about 20 minutes in terms of transforming this. So hopefully we'll be able to do a pretty decent job. Now first you're gonna start off on the side and pull these side panels. It works a little bit better if you start in the front and then pull the back. And then all of this, the like jagged lines that you see here, all kind of have to interlock. They lock in like that and stuff, so it does get a little bit tricky to do. But one thing that I will say about this is the plastic is very robust on this, so if you do have to get a little bit forceful with it, it works. I have not yet felt like I was going to break anything on that. And then you can see you're just going to separate these like that. That's going to fold over. There is a little slot and tab thing here that will kind of lock that into place. Split this one, fold that, And then you have this here in the front that folds in and locks down. Literally then, just let it dangle, just like that for right now. Come around to the other side. So again, we're going to pull this piece out, come around to the back, pull this piece out. And then basically just kind of wedge your fingers along the side and kind of pull all the bottom interlocking pieces. All right, so there we go, just like that. Separate this, that's gonna fold in. Separate this, that folds in, and squish that up. Do the back one first. There you go. Fold that in, squish, sandwich all that, and it kinda, sorta locks in. It will lock in a little bit more when we get to the actual leg section, but there you have that. Then we're gonna come around here to the back, detach this, just kind of pull your fingers in here, pull this apart. You see the little tabs that lock in right there. Do that on the front section as well. Oh no, just kind of pull this whole thing. It's up there, that does it. So you're gonna pull all this around. And this part, this gets a little bit tricky because you've got the pull right there. So this all hinges down. And then this all just kind of comes around to the other side again, kind of separate these little hinge pieces. Again, that is one thing that I do like. I like the fact that it is a very robust plastic, so you can manhandle it a little bit. Then once you have these pieces, you're going to bring all these up, and these pieces are going to connect back together, and then they will sandwich together as well. So now you have that kind of hanging out there. Let's come around to the top section. Basically, it's the same as the little side panels, but it's a little bit easier to start with the back. So pull that one out, and then again, just kind of pull all of this away. All the interlocking tab pieces will kind of pull away just like that, and then again, you start sandwiching all of these in on itself, just like that. That's literally just going to dangle right there. It does get a little bit kind of tricky because there's a lot of dangling parts. So again, start from the back, kind of pull that away, pull the front, and then separate all of this. I talk about this in a lot of videos that there is usually one easier way to transform a transformer, and there's one difficult way to transform it. Going to robot mode is much easier than going into his planet mode because basically you're pulling everything out and it's easy just to kind of flop it down. When you're going back into his planet mode, everything has to line up and be in a perfect configuration, so it makes it a lot more tricky. This, you're just going to set that there. This piece right here, you're going to pull away. You have that, and then that's going to rotate around, come around to the other side, do that as well here. So this section here attaches to a shoulder, just pull that up, and then rotate that around as well. Then you have these back ones over here, they lock in, so just pull that away, and this can slide out, and then this can kind of just dangle there. It'll probably get in the way at some point in time. So again, just pull this out from here, kind of slide this forward, because when you have it up, it kind of locks into place. When you slide it forward, then it'll drop down. So there's that. Now come around here, making some noise, come around into the back, you're going to pull this piece away from the arm section, then this is going to kind of snap up, sit on there for right now, just collapses up there. Now this, it's going to be tricky to kind of show this to you guys, so I'm just going to kind of move some of this stuff down and get it out of the way. On the inside here, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, there's a section of this that actually tabs into like his crotch piece, so that it locks in there very securely. You have to kind of use your muscle and pull it away. That will separate it. So you can kind of see this section locks in right there. So when you have it like that, then you can rotate this all the way, well, no, let's worry about that here in a second. But you can see basically what's happening with all of this. So now I'm going to come to the arms. Here, this is the part that I was kind of talking about, like the old transformation was fun in the animation because they kind of recreated that here a little bit. These, you literally pull these apart, they tab in very securely, straighten them out, lift all of this, and then this is going to, it just kind of swings out of the way. So I'm trying to do this so you can see it. Lift this up, this is going to swing out of the way. I just move all that and then let this flop down. Keep that straight. We're going to attach that here in a second. Come around to this side, again, lift that up, straighten that out, and then just kind of lift that over and around, just like that. Now these shoulders, they're tricky. There are two locking mechanisms. First, what you want to do is you have this little post thing right here. You want to make sure that this actually gets pushed forward. You can kind of see how it moves. That locks things in. If you don't, you won't very solidly secure the arm. So use your thumb, I feel, kind of slide that piece forward. You feel it's on a spring, it kind of locks in there. Go up, give that a good push. That locks that, and then bring it down to the other one, and that will lock that piece in. You'll know that it's locked in because then you can actually use the shoulder joint, because that's what kind of locks things in there. Definitely tricky to do that, but there are two locking points that you want to make sure that you get perfectly. Again, we're going to slide this piece forward, bring this up, back out of the way. Hold that little spring section, give the top one a push, locks that down, then bring the lower one in, locks that in. So now that's done. Now we're going to bring our attention to these legs. Again, they kind of lock together, and they also kind of lock in with this bit right here. So getting these, I'm going to just rotate these out of the way for right now. So literally just kind of grab them, separate them, and when you get it, you should be able to swing them down. But they also, like I said, kind of lock in up here as well. There we go. So you can kind of, let's bring that all the way down, and then all this other stuff, and see that kind of detached. So we're gonna have to fix that. Bring that down, and it kind of locks in. Let me get this arm out of the way because that's gonna cause issues. So get that. There we go. So it tabs in on the underside of the actual stand. So that's nice that they have a sturdy way of connecting that. There we go. Bring that down, and then all this stuff is going to just swing down, kind of get in the way. So just kind of keep these legs off to the side for right now. We'll worry about those in a bit. Take these little pieces, fold that down. Then we can turn our attention to all this other junk. Let's see. All right, let's rotate these arms. So again, we're going to get this little piece out of the way. Grab hold of the shoulder. It's a little bit easier to do it that way because you don't want to put too much stress on that actual connection piece. So rotate that around. Again, I'm going to leave these arms kind of out like that just to help have some space. So again, rotate. Very stiff ratchet joints. I love the way that they sound. It's solid and it's cool. So we're going to bring that around. Now this entire section here, we're going to bring this up and literally just bring this around. Now this was what I was talking about before. The head is here, but it likes to detach. So if you wanted to remove the head when you're transforming them, you could, especially since it gives you the option of being able to display that by itself. That's really cool. I did that. So again, bringing these arms, just again, getting them out of the way, getting the legs a little bit more forward, just to kind of, again, make some space. Now this, like I said, you're going to have this accordioned in, and then this whole section is going to fold up and under. Let's see. Oh, you want to make sure, I'm sorry, when you're folding all that in, make sure this little piece here, which creates the gap for the actual stand, make sure that that actually goes back out. So there we go. So it's going to be like that. Then this whole thing is going to come up, sandwiched together, and then this all comes up and underneath like that. I actually had that the wrong way. You want to have the horns kind of pointing up. So this part's a little bit tricky as well. Kind of have to do a little lifting here. Oh, that's going to rotate around. So that sits on the back like that. So that's going to sit there, and then you got these little pieces here that come around, and they're going to be used to lock things in. So get those little horns out of the way, and this piece you bring there. And then it's a little bit tricky. You want to angle this, lift this up and angle this, and then slide this down so where you can line this up. That locks in on that side. Then you do that on this side. All right, so now that that's all secure, just kind of straighten this out. Make sure you collapse that. That kind of will lock down and tab in just like that. His head fell off while I was fighting with that guy. So again, just kind of come around here and plug that in. You can lift these up just to create that more iconic look for him. Now these legs, this part gets a little bit of a pain in the butt to kind of play with. So we're going to rotate this piece down. That needs to stay out of the way. Then on the back of this upper one are little sections right here that are going to lock in here. So this is easy. You just kind of hinge all this down, bring this in and around, and try and find those little locking nubs. And I think that was it. Let's get that. Is that it? No, hold on. Again, it's kind of hard to see. You know, that's what I was doing before. Rotate the legs. That way you can kind of see what's happening. And then you can slide that in. Then you got this little piece here. Just kind of hold that. So that one is nicely secured right now. This piece here is going to rotate around and get that out of the way. And then this comes up. Now this little nub right here locks in here. It's tricky to get that to lock into place because all this has to accordion down and then it goes up. But if you hold both sides and kind of push here, you can hear a snap and that locks it into place there. This section here is going to come around to the back and we'll slide up here, locking along the back section, so you have that there. Then this, we're going to open this, rotate this piece all the way around, and this will tab in on the outside there, locking that little bit. I'm sorry if I'm getting in the way. Locking that piece down, and then this will come around, and this also has a lock on the inside there. Locks that. Now the entire leg is fully compressed and locked into place. You can take this. Yes, you could have done this before. Open up the feet and straighten that out. And the angle, there you go. So now you have one leg. So let's do that to this side. Again, a little bit easier if you kind of spin this around so you can kind of see what's going on. Get this piece out of the way. This has these little hole sections that are going to lock in there. So come around and make sure this whole section here is collapsed properly, and then that's going to slide in, lock it into place. Come around to this again, accordion all of this in. Like I said, this gets tricky because you have to put a lot of pressure on this. So accordion that down, and then hopefully this works. There we go, perfect. It does get easier over time, and then fold out the little heel spurs, bring this in, kind of position him there. Then this, like I said, this part comes up. You got a little slide thing right here that this literally just slides up and sits there. Rotate this piece around, bring out this first one. Then you got a little tab on the inside here that comes up. That will lock that into place right there. There you go. That locks that into place. And then bring this around. That locks that into place. Now you have both of his legs done, right? This is the fun part. Going to take these, collapse this, give it a little push, locks that into place. It just reminds me of the movie. I don't know, it's a weird thing. So then you can use the butterfly joint, lift that up, and again that goes with a push. There you go. He opens his hands. You can bring out his fingers. You got on both sides. Do that. These little pieces, I like taking these and bringing them back and then just kind of laying them flush there to kind of get him a little bit more off of his arms, like that. Sits down like that. And now we have the wings. Again, bringing these guys back in. Kind of make sure that you have it staggered properly. That looks actually wrong. So at least that one does. So this one here, and this gets a little bit tricky to do because you have to rotate this little top section. So you're gonna plug this in here, maybe like that. All right, plug that in, locks that in, and then rotate it here. Do it at the top section, makes it easier. That locks it right there. Yeah, see, that looks a lot better with the wings, kind of like that. So I'm going to reverse this. You have a little locking tab on both sides, so you can do that. Makes it look a little bit better. Maybe. There we go. So yeah, that looks good. Okay. And then again, let's see where this is. Nope. This one I'm gonna have to put this way. Put it in, lock it down, and rotate that down and around. Take a quick look just to see if everything's done. Are we done? Yes, we're done. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you have the one and only Unicron.
What a time.
This guy is an absolute presence. I mean, I have a lot of very large collectibles in my house, and this still grabs my attention. Every time that I walk around, my eyes are automatically drawn to it. The guy is massive. He is imposing. The level of detail in him is outstanding. It was in the planet mode. You could see it very clearly. But all of this has been molded and sculpted in a beautiful, beautiful way. Even when you kind of look at just the simple lines. Now, granted, it would be nice if there were like some, I guess, like panel lines or something, but I'm quite okay with how it turned out. As you can see though, not all of that detail is finalized. Specifically here in the arm, you can see a whole bunch of these screw holes. Now that's what I was talking about before, where you get the little plugs that you can plug those in. On this arm, they're front facing. On this arm, if I spin it around, they're back facing. So that's really nice. I like the fact that they actually thought to give us those pieces to kind of complete him. Granted, you could have just left the screw holes there. I probably would have been okay had they painted the thing's mouth. I mean, that's neither here nor there. But again, the colors on here are terrific. You can see lighter yellow with the orange, the silver, the blue. All of it looks really very good. Of course, you got his red abdominal section right there, which is funny because Galvatron has that as well. So that's kind of weird. He does have the little ports throughout his entire body, where you could put the little weapon effects, the little blast effects and stuff. You can do that on him, you know, kind of whatever you want to do. Now, you come around and he does have a lot going on here on the back, and this is what I was kind of talking about, that this is a very valid complaint, I guess, but not one that really should have, I guess, affected your decision too much in terms of actually buying it and then complaining about it after the fact. We knew he was going to have these giant panels on the sides of his legs and his back. We also knew he was going to have this giant backpack here. That is all, in my opinion, completely subjective. Objectively, we can complain about the mouth because we didn't know about that. We knew about these, and we still spent our money. So if you're going to spend your money on this, knowing these are here, well, yeah, it would be nice if this was cleaned up. And yeah, you can remove this. You can, I think I've seen with some third-party things, basically make a planet and a robot. It requires some like 3D printed parts and stuff, but you can't do it. But who's got the space for that? The display stand here does stand out, but it does really help support him. You can have him still stand without it. The weight of his entire body is still supported very nicely with his legs. The ratchet joints and everything are really strong, very secure, and can hold the weight of it. But transforming them is just so much easier just to leave that thing plugged in there. I haven't removed it once since I've gotten this guy. Now, coming in to talk about his articulation, the head does have a swivel. You can go left and right, can also go up and down. His mouth can also open and close. You can also rip it off. And this is what is, it's kind of weird in my opinion, but the face kind of pulls apart. It's kind of tough to do. Kind of have to pull it at both of the edges, kind of wedging things apart, and I don't have like a lot of fingernail availability to do this, but come on, there we go. A little bit. Oh, we're so close. There we go. So you can remove this, and then you can put the battle damage face on there. If I bring that piece in, you can see you do have eyes, which that's a little bit creepy. You got a little switch here in the back. You can slide them left and right. It's weird. I don't know. I don't really care. Again, another point of complaint is the fact that they didn't paint his teeth. Now you can put this on there. I'm not going to put it all the way on, but you can see that his upper teeth are painted. The lower ones are not. And that's really kind of unfortunate. I wish they would have done that. But you put that on there and you have the battle damage look for him. Nice, but in my opinion, kind of pointless because there's no other battle damage throughout the entire body. But great detail around here. Like you can totally see his face and everything. So I'm just going to leave this on there. Put it on the right way. But with the eye section, it's weird because while the eyes are in there and you're moving them, you literally cannot see the eyes inside there. So that would have been cool if it lit up, right? You can open his mouth and UNICRON. I mean, there's that. Then you can just plug this right back there, maybe. There we go. And it sits in there fine. You can see the transformation. Sometimes it gets bumped and falls all over the place. So you'd have to be careful with that. I love how he's got his little collar thing up there. Just absolutely love it. One aspect that I wish was done a little bit differently, I guess you can kind of mitigate that, is these wings are attached to his shoulders. So when you rotate his arm forward, this comes along with it. Now, you can rotate that down. So you can mitigate that because it does rotate there. So it's not a huge problem. I am glad that they actually made it where you can rotate that though, so that you can articulate the arm. But as you can see, it can move forward and back very nicely. Also moves in and out, which is nice. I also love how you can see you get this extra detail coming in that fills in the gap here. But you can see it holds the weight fairly well. I like seeing that. You do have a bicep swivel. You have a soft ratchet here at the elbow. The fingers and the hands, you've got the rotation. Oh, if I keep that all the way up. You got the rotation right here at the wrist. The thumbs individually articulated, like all over the place. All the fingers are individually articulated, which is nice. You got a bunch of different joints on there, so you can kind of do whatever you want with them. Get this out of the way. He does have a waist rotation. Again, really nice ratchet joint. And what's nice is the backpack doesn't get in the way. If I get these arms completely lifted up, you can see that it literally just slides along that cap. So this backpack does not limit any of the waist movement, which is nice. You do have these bits that can move forward, out, all that kind of stuff, because the leg, if you move this out here, and I'm going to try showing this to show how sturdy the ratchet joints are. So this goes out. That's a little bit weak right there. But what's nice is the forward and back. The forward and back is really secure. And you can see he's balancing perfectly fine. So this stand really does help things out a lot. The ratchet joint going forward and back, though, is stronger than the in and out ratchet, which, in my opinion, is okay. Because I don't think you're going to be doing a lot of side kicks with this guy. So you have that. Does rotate at the upper part. Let's get that up. He also does bend at the knee, so you can get him standing. And again, does perfectly fine. The ankles here have tilt. They have, I thought they had forward and back. Oh yeah, forward, but only goes back to basically the start position. This kind of moves, that kind of moves, and then swivel this out to the side, and this back one also moves. So all sorts of articulation, just about every part that you would expect to have articulation does have it, and that's really impressive. The joints on here are really very impressive, and it allows for all of that motion. I'm just really quite impressed. Now let's do the comparison here. There is him, and I don't have any other Transformers out here. I have Trypticon still, so let's bring in Trypticon. Here's a dinosaur. Oh, he's like, oh, you're a big guy. Because I do this all the time, you guys seem to enjoy it. Here he is next to a Coca-Cola Tic Tac container, and just for the hell of it, because he's the biggest Avenger, here is a Funko Pop. That's all I got sitting right here. Okay. You guys probably don't care about seeing them with these. So how about Optimus Prime? There you go. Massive. And now to transform him back. And as I've talked about many times before, going one way is usually easier than going the other way. And that is absolutely true here with Unicron. First, we're going to take off his wings. Just take this off. We can transform this. You're going to detach this. You're going to rotate this around. This is going to spin around. All this stuff basically, and then lift this up like that. This is going to come up and connect. And basically, it's going to go like that. There you have one half of his wings done. Then come to the other side. We're going to do that one other time. So again, just kind of separate that. Spin that around like so. This piece here is going to rotate around. That comes up. This is going to go there. And then this flexes down, and this is going to plug into place there. How do I do that? There we go. And here you have the other one. We'll connect it here in a bit. It's pretty easy, obviously. Now, like I said, you could do it with the head on. You could do it with the head off. It's a matter of personal preference. If you're going to display him as a planet, you're obviously going to want to take that out. Maybe you'll have a little separate display with just the head floating around there. I'm going to leave it on there just to show you the process. So rotating this down like that, then we're going to put the hands away. Make sure you straighten out the thumb and then fold that all the way in, and then tuck these fingers kind of around it. Get it as straight as possible. Then give that a little push. You'll hear a lock. That'll lock into place. Do that on this side as well. Fold that in, kind of straighten that. Give that a good push so that locks down just like that. Then you can kind of start detaching all of this leg stuff. Now this part gets a little bit tricky because that tabs in really securely. So first, come around here, detach this piece, loosen that, and then literally you're gonna have to try and get in there and just kind of wedge your fingers as close to that base and pop that joint as easily as you possibly can. It gets easier over time, so don't be too terribly concerned if it's really stiff the first few times you do it. Get this little piece, we're just gonna rotate that, completely get that out of the way. This, we're gonna rotate that around, and this pulls away from the back section. And this is all going to hinge out and everything. We're gonna play with all that here in a bit, just kind of put that off to the side. Come around to this side, do that on this leg as well. Again, kind of wedge your hand in between, pop that out, just like that. Oh, well, you could have detached that, which I forgot to do. But hey, it worked nonetheless. Get this little piece, get that out of the way. This is going to just kind of dangle there. Rotate this around. Pull this from the back. And all of this is going to, again, just kind of come out just like that. It's a lot of stuff going on here. Now this, I want to say this goes around towards the back, so I'm just going to kind of get this out of the way for right now. But see, like that kind of stuff, it just lifts his head up. So it is what it is. Kind of bring that around nice and straight. Then we're going to come around to the back section. No, don't rotate that. Come around to the back. This piece here, you're going to detach from the sides, loosen that part up. So again, get that down. This piece here, you're going to completely pull away from that locking piece. That will loosen all of this, and you can just kind of straighten that out. Bring this whole thing down, bring this together, connect that. That's all gonna flop around. This piece here, get that there. There we go. It'll probably come out eventually. Then literally take this, bring this around to the front, and then you can just kind of drape that there for now, just getting that sort of out of the way. Then we're gonna bring all these legs, the leg section up. This can get a little bit tricky just because of how big they are. But let's see, get that, bring that up. Really, in terms of the transformation, it's not very hard to transform him. There's just so much to it, so it does make it a little bit tricky. So we're gonna bring all this back. And then this will basically, all this stuff here is going to kind of flop around. Let's do one leg at a time. Bring that all the way up. Make sure you bring the feet pieces in, collapse that all the way up and in like that. Then bring this, keep that bit up there. And then this, you can kind of see how like there's a little cutout section here that fits pretty easily along here. So that's kind of where you want to go with it. Keep that out of the way. And bring that down. That will lock into place right up there. So now the leg, one of the legs, I should say, is where it needs to be. We're going to bring this one back. I'm sorry if I'm getting in the way here. Bring that all the way up. Then collapse the feet in. Bend at the knee. Keep the back skirt piece all the way up. That leg's moving forward. And then just hinge all this in so you get it where it's kind of lined up there. Give that a good push, and then lock this section together. Let's see. Did I do it? No, that's not fully collapsed, and I think I popped that out there. But all right, so bring that up, and then get that up there. Is that? Get that as pushed up there as you possibly can. So there you have the leg section pretty much in place. And this is kind of going to get in the way, but basically what you need to do now is detach these arms. And loosen this up. Again, you want to move that little piece back. That will loosen the connecting bit there. It's a little bit tricky to see. Pull that forward and then pop this piece out. Let's see, how can I? Again, it's not terribly difficult. You just gotta know the way to do it. There we go. So once that's out like that, then you can lift all this, and like I said, some of this stuff just kind of flops around. I'm going to use that kind of wedge. No, that works. That's not where that needs to be. I'm going to have to rotate that around. But this arm has to get rotated all the way to the back. And if you're going to do it this way, you need to make sure that you're holding this, get that kind of the way. Make sure you're holding that. That way there's not too much stress on the plastic, because otherwise you're completely rotating that and you don't want to do that. So it might be a little bit easier, because that's a really stiff joint right there. So here, let me kind of show you this. So while it's still attached, it's probably a little bit easier to do it. So get this kind of lifted up out of the way, and then rotate all this. Because with it attached, you get the leverage there, so it makes it a little bit easier. So straighten that. And keep bring that all the way around. And this is gonna have to get moved down. So this piece here, can get this out of the way. And then if you can, you're gonna have to rotate this towards the front. Well, or no, actually, let me see. No, because that's gonna be the front. So yeah, that needs to be here in the bottom. So, and that makes it a little bit more tricky. All right, so we're going to detach these legs, because there's no real easy way to get this piece down. So, since I got both of these already down. So make sure you rotate that piece down. That will be absolutely critical going forward. So bring this up, and put that back where you need it. Give those two pieces a good squeeze. Make sure that's locked in there. There we go. All right, so now we're going to try and this to rotate all the way around, which let me see. There we go. All right, I made it a little bit easier. All right. So, like I said, stuff just kind of gets in the way when you're trying to do all this. So bring this piece up. You're gonna bring this down here. Then make sure that the shoulder section is pushed all the way in, which this side is. So again, with this piece comes up and over, and that comes down. Straighten all that. Make sure that the shoulder joint is pushed all the way in. To make things a little bit less floppy, let's connect this. This is going to lock in. And then, like I said, you have a little section in here that you lock things in to his crotch area. So kind of lift that up. It's really floppy right now. So lift that there, and then give that a good squeeze, which is not easy to do. Like I said, going one way, always easier than going the other. So here we go, let's see. There we go. All right, that's locked in. So that might make it a little less floppy right now. Get all this kind of out of the way. Just trying to create some space here, but you can see it coming together. Now we're going to take these arms, bend these in, and they will sandwich together. Make sure, let's see, get that out of the way. Make sure that that's down proper. So this is, okay, so you want these pointing forward towards the mouth. Those are pointing forward. Good. Let's bring this all in and give this a good sturdy connection here. So bring that in, and then you're going to almost so close. There we go. All right, so now that's connected. Whew, that's rough. Okay, bring these little pieces around here and angle that down. Keep that up out of the way. That's gonna fit in here and lock in. This side, we're gonna do the same thing. Rotate this piece around. Spin that so it's facing the bottom. Lock that in. There we go. Nice. Very, very nice. Now we're going to take the top section, detach this, rotate this piece around, and this is going to come around here. Now, as you're doing it, like I said, you have those overlapping panels. You have to kind of go with it while you're doing it. So kind of fit that there, and then this is going to come down, and this will tab in towards the bottom, right there, locking that into place. Let's come around to the bottom section here now. These are going to fold out and then come back around the actual base itself. Make sure that the little stand piece is pushed in so that you have the clearance for that display, or for the stand here. Bring that around. Get that all folded out. There we go. And just kind of fiddle with this. Get that out of the way. There we go. Connect the two halves. But again, you have to play with the little folding bits. There's all sorts of those throughout this entire thing. That might be one of the most tricky elements of the transformation on this guy, going back to the planet mode. As you can see, the weight and size is a challenge, but also getting all of these individual panels to overlap the proper way is tricky to do. So there's that. There's that. And then we're going to bring this up. Oh, shoot. Connect them. Push right there, and then just kind of take a look at the bottom. Yeah, that looks good. But you can see them coming together, which is really, I'm impressed. I'm doing this well. Bring this around. You're going to attach these side spires right there. Take this. This is going to rotate around and sit on the inside. Do that on this side as well. So rotate this around. These are going to get in the way. And connect this piece right there, and that piece in. I feel like this is really, there we go. Okay, get that there. Now you basically have the overall shape of them done, getting these kind of out of the way. Now you're going to start attaching these side pieces. So you want to rotate this one around so again that the little round sections are facing up again. This is part of, and then they tab in, so like they overlap, and you gotta really push to get it to lock in. So make sure when you're doing this, you do it so that the bottom portion of this sphere is at the bottom. So that, and then again, kind of squeeze all that. Do that on this one as well. Locks that in, and then you hinge this up. And this is where really it becomes very difficult to do, because all of these tabs, again, they have to all interlock, and you're literally looking down, pushing, pulling, making sure everything is completely squeezed into place. And there's that. Did I detach? Yeah, that's detached. So that's, you know, that's part of the difficult nature of him. Like I said, he's not overly complex to transform. It's all these different panels and everything. But there, look, we have one side done. And then what's happening? Why does this look like it's sitting up higher than it should? Oh no, that needs to rotate down a little bit more. I have that collapsed all the way down. This one I feel like it is. So, again, get that kind of out of the way. Lock all these together. The interlockings is super fun. I'm being sarcastic. And that's, I mean, I keep saying it, but this really is the most difficult part about it. So lock that there. Now I feel like it's almost like a test to see how fast can Optibotimus transform Unicron. So then we're going to push this down and in. There we go. It's a little bit easier to connect here in the back. And then again, you just kind of go through and sandwich all of these, going all the way around. There's that. So the bottom section is done. Yeah, I feel like I don't have this one quite done proper, because this should sit lower. So I feel like maybe I don't have the shoulder here ratcheted properly, and Unicron's head did detach inside there, so I don't even know. There we go. Now we're going to come around to these, and this one's a little bit more difficult because it's at the top, so it's harder to see unless I put it on the ground, but I can't really do that. So sandwich all of that. There we go. And then that hinges down. And it's a little bit easier to attach here to the back. And then literally just go through and kind of pull all these panels. It is a little bit easier because you have the holes at the top where the ring is attached to. So like the top section and the bottom, if you hold that, that kind of helps. So let's see. And then my neighbors are home, so I don't even know if that's actually, that's there. I could just cut this and come back when it's done, but I feel like you guys wanted to watch me suffer. With this. Oh, wait, there we go. Did that do it? There we go. It's literally just about perfect except for right here, which I can't seem to get pulled in. There we go. Oof. We're so close to being done. And his head came off again. So yeah, you might want to just take the head off. If you're going to display him in the planet, just take the head off. There's that. There's that. For me, people are going to ask how I'm going to display mine. I'm going to display mine in robot mode, just because, as I talked about, from the top of my DTOLF, where this is going to sit, all the way to my ceiling, it's a little bit too big. Now, if I had it like this, it would be perfectly fine, but you got to put the rings on them, right? I mean, oh, that might have been, did that work? Oh, wow. Wow, that was actually pretty easy. Okay, so here we have them. Let me take a look. Oh no, that actually worked out pretty good. I was worried that I didn't have that shifted right, but it actually did shift perfectly. So let's, the gears kind of get messed up every now and then, so just open that up and then lines up perfectly. Now for the rings, like I was saying, it's these pieces here that stick up, you know, like this goes all the way up there. Like I said, this literally you just put down there to about there, and then this, you're going to want to rotate this piece around, which is the part that spins. I think it's this whole thing, so this is a little bit tricky to do. So you shift that forward a little bit, put that in, there we go, and then rotate that around, there we go. Then you just put that piece down through the hole at the top. There we go. Put the hole right through there, and that's just going to sit right there until you grab the other one and do the same thing. So probably going to put this in and rotate it around. Slide in that way or the other way? The other way. Perfect. And rotate that around. Then you connect these two halves. Oh wait, I did that backwards. Oopsie. Alright, so just rotate it. Spin the whole thing around. Then you connect these two halves up here, like that. Bring this together. Take this, put this up through the bottom, get that wedged up in there. There we go. And then you connect these two halves. And boys and girls, children of all ages, there you have Unicron back in his planet mode. Now, ultimately, we have a couple questions left to answer. Was this guy worth the hype? Was he worth the over-year wait? Was he worth the price? In general, was he worth it? In my honest opinion, yes, he absolutely was. At that $575 price point, he is probably, if memory serves, the most expensive Hasbro release that we've ever gotten. Now, there have been other third parties that have gotten the license from Hasbro to do things like statues, and we are getting that actual transforming Optimus Prime, the little robot thing. I mean, these are expensive pieces, but they're all done by third-party companies that are getting the license from Hasbro. This was made directly by them, and they use the Kickstarter crowdfunding by way of Haslab to create this. Initially, I did not think that this was going to get fully funded. It really kind of went stagnant for a long period of time. And then retailers came in, the final push, and it actually pushed it over the mark. And I was really kind of surprised by that. But now having it in hand, looking at it, transforming it, all of this is just really absolutely impressive. I am, without a doubt, blown away at how this was actually created. Everything about this is just on a whole new scale. I do not think we're ever going to get another Transformer this big. I mean, I probably would, I'm looking at my other ones, I probably would have said that with some of the other ones like Scorponok and stuff. But I mean, where do you go from this? Do you do a Primus? That would be absolutely amazing if they did that. And literally, you could take that Cybertron toy and just upscale it to this, and it would be perfect, in my opinion. That is a really good toy. So, they might not necessarily be done with large planet bots, but if we don't get any of those other ones, Unicron here is absolutely iconic. As I talked about before and kind of sprinkled throughout this review, we were introduced to this behemoth in the 1986 animated movie, and he instantly became a very popular character. In this sort of look, he is iconic to a Transformer fan. So when I saw it, I absolutely knew that I had to have it. Now, as great as this is, I do still have some issues with it. The biggest one being the maw. I do not feel that there is any excuse that Hasbro that can give to us that would explain the lack of matching the color properly. They absolutely could. Why they didn't, I have no idea. That is a real huge problem, in my opinion. Objectively, getting it like this, had we not seen the last, I think, like packaging video for it where they showed this being transformed and put into the box, we would never have known until that showed up at our doorstep, because most of the stuff that we saw had the entire thing painted to match the rest of the colors. So that would have been jarring if we got that without any kind of a tease, I guess, that they were going to change it. That is, in my opinion, the biggest kind of misstep on this figure. Subjectively, people can complain about the bulk of his legs, how all the panels basically hang on his legs and on his back. At least it's fairly secure. I will give him credit for kind of locking things in there. But again, subjectively, we knew that was going to be the case. We saw it. We knew it was coming. There's no other kind of explanation with that. If we bought this, knowing that those peeps' legs were going to be like that, then that's on us. We paid the money. We knew what we were getting. This is a different story, so it is what it is. Now, comparing it to that studio cell Unicron, I do not feel that that is a fair comparison. You are getting what you pay for either way. Is that studio cell one the best representation of Unicron? Probably. The overall look of it is outstanding. Scale-wise is completely off. It doesn't fit. And I will never add that to my collection, literally, unless a third-party company comes and knocks off a third-party company and makes a, Unicron this big out of that. I can't imagine me ever wanting to get it. But again, that would be an expensive piece. I honestly am perfectly fine with this guy as is. I am kind of disappointed, and it's just a personal disappointment because I can't display him like this. And I really want to. I'm kind of looking at these. No, that don't do anything. Looking at these, or looking at this is how I would want him to be displayed. I think this is a very iconic look for Unicron, and this is how I would choose to put him in my collection. Unfortunately, because my Detolfs, the top of it, from that to the ceiling, there's not enough space. So that's definitely disappointing. Now, if I took these off, I could do it, but it wouldn't look right. It wouldn't look like Unicron. So that's just a personal disappointment on my end of things. Gonna have to put him in robot mode to display him, but all my other big scale robots are in their bot mode anyhow, so I guess I can live with it. Now, as I said, this was exclusively available through Haslab. Some retailers did pick it up. I did get mine through Big Bad Toy Store, so I did pay a little bit more for it. I was okay with that because at the time I didn't have the $575 to pay right away. Big Bad Toy Store put this up. All I had to do, I don't remember how much it was. It was like $150 or something that I had to put down as a down payment for it, but then didn't have to worry about a payment for the rest of the year or however long it was until this came out and I had to pay for it, which allowed me to, over the course of a year, put away $20 here, $50 there, so that when it was all in, I had all the money, paid for it, and it was done. It gave me time to do it. So yeah, like I said, I paid a little bit more, but I still think it's worth it. I'm perfectly okay with getting it, and I know a lot of people have been paying over $1,000 for this, close to $1,500 to get this guy. That's really the only way that you could do it. I mean, I don't know necessarily if they're going to ever reissue this. I mean, they built all of this. I feel like it would be a waste for them to have the molding and everything to never use it again for something. So time will tell. I have no idea, but I am absolutely thrilled with it, and I love having it in my collection. So once again, thank you to all of you who watch this video. This is quite possibly the longest video review that I've ever done, and it was a challenge. It was a challenge. If you guys watched a fraction of it, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. All of your support means a ton to me. So I would appreciate if you would go one step further and hit the thumbs up button. Let me know that you appreciate the content and the review itself. Also, I got to send a huge thank you to all of my Optibotimus Plus channel members who, through their direct support, yes, he did just hit me in the ear, helped to make reviews like this and many others possible. And if you'd like information on how you can help support my channel by becoming a patron, where you can get exclusive channel chat and comment emojis, loyalty badges, access to the Optibotimus Plus Discord, exclusive unboxing videos, live streams, Zoom calls, the occasional giveaway, and the new home of the Optibotimus Looks Back review series, then please consider becoming a member of Optibotimus Plus. And all you have to do is click on that little join button, it's somewhere over here, it's like down there, and help this channel out a little bit more. And as always, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.